Hi Ben.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
And nice to be with the car.
Yeah, this is it's a big moment for us. So this is the new product from Lotus, EMEA, the Hyper GT, and this is the first opportunity for anyone in Europe to see the car. It was launched very recently in New York on the 7th of September. So this effectively is the European debut in here in Paris.
And I saw it the first time like 5 minutes ago.
Good. What's
And
the
my first impression is it's lovely,
Yeah.
and it's huge. It's very long, and for a GT car it's very big.
It is quite a large car, but you know this is the market trend with electrical vehicles today. That to get a usable range and a really kind of decent performance level in the car, there's a size which is currently required. But it's also the fact that we're carving out a slightly new market niche in terms of the new performance lifestyle vehicles from Lotus. We have to balance a very luxury vehicle with something which is super dynamic to drive, and also incredibly engaging in sort of every level and every touch point. So it's not just about performance driving this product.
So luxury is like 10 years ago, luxury was one thing, and now it's another thing. What is
Absolutely, it's
what is
completely
luxury
redefined.
today?
So there's various layers to it. So the first thing is an aesthetic which is super engaging and
Yeah.
appealing, emotional to people. That needs to have a certain kind of purity to it to allow it to last. So a longevity in the product is super important for us. I think leveraging a heritage brand like Lotus is very, very important for a genuine luxury experience. We need to have a heritage. We need to know where we've come from, and we need to be reinterpreting that for the customer of tomorrow and indeed today. I think when you come towards more the interior of automobiles like this, digitalization is a huge aspect of what we need to do. So the application of technology to give real customer benefit in terms of usability and function, but also in terms of engagement. So the layering of that experience inside this car is quite deep, and it gives a very immersive experience and more ways to attach yourself to the car. Then there's materiality, you know, what the thing
Yeah.
feels like to touch and to actually interact with on a more kind of human level.
Do you like
And
buttons?
I think it's essential. There's a reason for that. We can explain in a bit more detail, but for us it's not only about a touch screen. So it's as a driver's car, Lotus historically, we need to have a certain analog nature to the product. So it's really important that we balance the future technology with something which is instinctive. So we would class that as maybe muscle memory. So the primary functions, the things that you just need, like HVAC control or
Yeah.
hazard warning button, is all on a physical switch inside the car. And we do that deliberately because that's instinctively how we've evolved with the automobile, and we understand how to operate those things. So
So
the more
that's-
immersive side of it can be dealt with in a different way. So there's a combination of analog and of digital within what we're doing for Lotus, and that's part of the luxury experience as well. There's still a physical touch point, something crafted, beautiful and tactile. It's
Yeah.
important.
So everything that you need is that's function.
Everything you need is a primary operation. So for driving, the primary things that you want to be able to do are all on the steering wheel. So it's literally hands on the wheel, eyes on the road driving experience. Everything that you need from a kind of comfort and a safety perspective, which would come down to HVAC controls, drive modes, and things like park brake and hazard button. That's on a physical switch as well. Then you go to the next level of interaction, which is around the general HMI, infotainment, etc.
Yeah.
That's then in the touchscreen.
Här är vi på insidan av EMEAn, och den här ratten är ju faktiskt otroligt härlig. Dels fantastiskt material och lite så här sköna sportdetaljer som den här. Men det jag gillar är att saker och ting som man behöver när man kör, de finns allihopa här. Dels så finns ljud och sånt här, men och här finns här finns ljud och här finns farthållaren. Men här bakom så finns regen-grejen, och på skärmen här bak så ser man hur mycket regen man har här. Och när man ändrar drive mode här så är det på den här sidan. Så att det är väldigt det är väldigt intuitivt och väldigt härligt. Och här så finns det bara de saker man behöver. Alltså hur fort man kör, hur långt man har eller kan köra, hur mycket batteri finns kvar, vilket körläge man är i, och det är typ enda man behöver. I mitten här så har vi körlägesväljaren och temperatur. Och då ser man här uppe om det blir varmare eller kallare. Här kan man ladda mobilen. lite grann hur man känner för det. Och så finns det då en stor skärm här. Det roliga med den här är att den är väldigt kvick och snabb. Och man ser exakt vad som händer. Nu är det någon som har öppnat bakdörren där bak. Och det syns det här. Om jag då öppnar dörren här, så öppnas den här också. Och om jag trycker på bromsen så stängs den. Och då stängs den här också. Det är ju väldigt vackert. Och den feta vingen är uppe. Så att bara att, där kommer vi ju säkert tröttna på, men att liksom, ja, vissa tillverkare får inte ens rätt färg på bilen här. Det här är ju next level på det här alltså. Här ser man också vilket körläge man är i, och ändrar på det så ändras det på en gång här. Och man kan ställa in massa saker och pilla. Men allting som man gör på skärmen är liksom pillprylar. Alltså ändra sånt här. LED-prylar och sånt. Allt sånt är här. Men det man liksom behöver göra medan man kör är här. Det är faktiskt en underbar tanke. Hos föraren så finns det också en liten skärm. Och framförallt så visas det vad... Ja, kör man inte och inte spelar någon musik så är det en klocka där. Och nu så ser man vad det är för låtar och sånt som spelas. Jag tycker att upplägget är smått, kanske inte magiskt, men väldigt bra åtminstone. Allting som ser ut som metall verkar faktiskt vara metall. Och de har lovat mig att allting som ser ut som kolfiber faktiskt är kolfiber. Så när det är kolfiber här eller när det ser ut som att det är kolfiber här och här, så är det kolfiber. Vilket är ju inte heller så jävla vanligt. Och även här är det, när det ser ut som metall, så är det metall. Även den här är liksom metall. One thing I really love is that you have a LiDAR that's very techy.
We have 4 LiDAR on the car, actually. So deployable LiDAR in the front header there. These panels here disappear into the body and the LiDAR will pop out on demand when required. And there's a 4th one in the rear, which is actually hidden just underneath the active rear wing. So really nice integration. It's actually there. When the wing's up, you can see it. So 4 LiDAR and then a composite system of cameras and radar on the car. So it actually has 2 times 360-degree coverage. So it's covered in multiple systems depending on the use case, all the way up to level 4 of autonomy. So again, the technology is in the car. Regulation doesn't actually allow us to drive in Europe with level 4 autonomy, but the car is capable, so the service can be switched on OTA if the regulations are changed.
How did you manage to make this flip down? Because there ain't much room up here, right?
No, there's not, but I mean, it's what Lotus is about, is to challenge engineering and technology and come up with a new solution. So honestly speaking, the inspiration for this is from the 60s and 70s. You know, many cars, especially sports cars, had pop-up headlamps.
Yes,
and that's
we love them.
At that point in time, exactly, but regulation doesn't allow you to do it anymore, but those were the eyes of the car, and in a very sort of direct translation, the eyes of the car tomorrow are these LiDAR sensors that tell you everything that's going on around you. So we took that concept, tried to apply it, and we're lucky at Lotus, we've got smart engineers, and they delivered this. So it's actually a world first on a production car to have deploying LiDAR. They came on the Electra SUV just behind you first, and now we've taken the same tech and put it on the EMEA. So it's a unique to Lotus, and it's something that we really like because, as I say, it's not omnipresent, doesn't need to be there all the time. It's only in specific use cases, and we want the silhouette to be as seamless and smooth as possible from an aerodynamic and an MVH point of view. You know, these things, little lumps and bumps on the car, they generate noise and they generate a disturbance of airflow, but also aesthetically. If you're not using them, we want the car to be as smooth, seamless, pure and beautiful as possible.
You don't want a taxi feeling when you're...
You don't want a taxi feeling. So it's there, but it's on demand. That's the point for us.
And one thing I love is also this. This is an old luxury thing that it's...
Yeah,
it's
so
open,
this is a new feature
itself.
for Lotus, an option on that it's got an automatic door system. Again, get in the car, put your foot on the brake, and it will automatically close for you as well. So it's just a luxury feature. The technology is well understood, and we've applied that for the first time on a Lotus with EMEA, but it's... it's an extension of that.
I don't remember how you put it, but you said that every function needs a meaning or something.
Yeah,
and this is actually a meaning to it
it's a
in
smart
long run.
technology, you know. It's just one more thing that you don't really have to think about or consider. And you know, the sensors in the door will stop it hitting a person or any object. So again, it's quite safe to open that in traffic. It will stop itself. So it's more of the vehicle intelligence. Yeah? It's the capability that we have based on all the processing power that's now embedded in our vehicles to just add this layering of more and more nice to have little kind of wow features. That's the point.
What is your personal opinion about like digital mirrors? There's
two reasons for the digital rear view mirror. So again, we make global products. That's not permissible in all markets around the world due to regulation, but in Europe now it is. The US still not. China, they changed the regulation beginning of 2023. It is now permissible. The reason we do it for Lotus is simply a performance benefit, first off. So the size of this head, this unit here, which is hugely reduced against a conventional rear view mirror, has a drag benefit. Yep. So we achieve a more slippery and efficient car by putting that on there. The added customer benefit is there's no blind spot. So virtually, because of the camera angle of view, you can eliminate the possibility you don't see what's coming alongside you. And then the one people don't instantly think about is nighttime view. So we're in a quite dark space now, and it's a daylight visibility.
That is better than reality.
There are three clear benefits. The performance one aerodynamically for Lotus, and then the two customer usability benefits which are there. So I think the system's good. I think it's changing customer perceptions. If you've traditionally driven cars for a long time, you may find this difficult to get used to. It's about the focal distance adjustment you have, focusing on a screen. What we've tried to do is put that screen as high up on the door as possible, so it's in a good usable condition. But we think the tech is here to stay, and there's more you can do with it. So for us, there are multiple benefits at Lotus. We're going to keep pursuing this. But at the minute, as I said, some customers, they maybe don't like that system. We also deliver a conventional mirror head. Yes. It's an option.
I really like the mix between the old...
Yeah. But this is a cool integration. So we're trying to make the thing as seamless as possible. So you have one surface that runs through the door top roll there, and it goes from, this beautiful Alcantara into real metal, which is a fantastic detail, really hard to produce, and then on into the screen. So we like to describe it as almost this kind of ribbon of technology that runs across the car. You have the sound system running into one of the screens, the second one, the light bar, center display, and right away across the car. So everything's contained in this sandwich between this wing form of the lower IP and this super sharp wing form of the upper IP. So it's almost like two aerodynamic forms that sandwich the technology and give you this one seamless effect across the car.
And this is the four-seater?
This is a four-seat version of the car, so 4 individual sports seats, which is, again, it's this kind of unique combination of a sort of limousine feeling with a really high-performance vehicle. You almost have like one little cockpit area for every individual occupant in the car. We also have a 5-seat version. This is just the first launch car that we have coming to Europe. So the customer can ask for a 5-seat split folding rear bench where the seats can fold down. You've got a through load space from the rear. So it's your choice of how you plan to use the car.
I love also that it's sort of bucket seats in the back.
It is, yeah. I mean, it is a very sporty experience, but these also have a slouch recline function, so you can lean right back and really enjoy the space, and there's a lot of functionality in the seat. But the idea is you should feel like you're in a performance car. Also, looking at the seat in front of you, this one is nicely specced with lightweight materials and a strong use of carbon fiber. You feel like you're sitting behind someone driving a sports car.
Här bak är ju den tvåsitsiga, tänkte jag, men i den 4-sitsiga versionen, alltså 2 sätten fram och 2 sätten bak. Och här är det också kolfiber. De här stolarna är ju smått aggressiva faktiskt. Här är det då alltså 2 platser. Det går att få den här med 3 platser bak man vill det. Men det här är ju typ bucket seats. Det är ju väldigt grymt. Det här verkar inte vara en kyl. Men här kan man slänga in något om man känner för det. Och så finns det plats här under. Och 2 USB-uttag där. Ganska bra placerade faktiskt. Och så finns det en skärm här i mitten. Och här kan man göra det mycket. Man kan framförallt ta bort den när man inte behöver pilla på den. Så försvinner den ner så att man... Ja, jag vet inte riktigt varför man ska göra det faktiskt. Men ja, det går. Och här kan man styra väldigt mycket. Man kan styra musiken. Och sen kan man styra hur luften ska styras. Den är väldigt kvick och systemet överlag är väldigt kvickt och snabbt. Det är ju en GT-vagn där, så att det är liksom inte tänkt att man ska lasta så mycket saker. Och det med den här 2-sitsiga bak, 4-sitsiga, så är det också så att då kan du liksom inte fälla sätena. Det kan du glömma, men det kanske man får leva med. det är okej, tycker jag. Headroom, ja men okej. Men man kan också styra så att man kan få lite massage här bak, vilket ju är otroligt viktigt. Det är skönt. Man kan även styra här så att den här åker bakåt och framåt. Så man kan sitta ganska rätt upp och då få lite mer plats. Eller så kan man vinkla tillbaka om man känner för det. För att det är ju härligare alltid att vara tillbakalutad. Och ja, man har plats. Framförallt så är det fascinerande när man sitter här bak att det är så otroligt. Man märker att det är en väldigt, väldigt stor bil. Den är väldigt långt fram. Och det är, när någon normal sitter där framme så finns det gott om plats här framme. Det är ett batteri här i botten så att man sitter ju ganska högt på benen. Så det är inte liksom relax på det sättet utan det är lite sportbilsfeeling. Men det är helt okej tycker jag. Enda jag ska kunna gnälla på är att det är långt fram till champagneglaset där framme. Do you think this type of car, do you call it a hatchback or fastback? Is this a fastback or is it a sedan?
It's a GT.
It's a GT.
It's a GT. Well, the reason we're using that phrase is it's a little bit of a melding of words. It's definitely not a sedan to me. It has a coupe profile, but you get in the back and it's got a different experience. It's almost like a limousine. So to us, this is kind of redefining what a GT is for the modern era. And when we look at, as I say, that blend of luxury and lifestyle experience, that's what a GT is to me. And with electrification and technology, this is our proposition.
And you can actually fit a lot of stuff in there.
You can. So usable trunk, as I said, this is the 4-seat version of the car, but if you imagine on a 5-seat version, again, you can fold the seats back. There's an additional storage compartment underneath here for charge cables, etc. And
I love this.
Yeah. Well, it's to be able to tether things. It's all functional. It's to be able to tie stuff down in the boot. There's also a small frunk on the car as well, so a storage compartment underneath the hood. So again, everything you can operate from inside the car on the touchscreen. And there's multi-stages of deployment on that rear wing. So again, based on drive mode, if you're trying to optimize drag on the car, it will deploy to a lower position. This is in maximum angle of attack for downforce. And there's actually 2 layers. So a big wing, and if you look underneath, there's a second one, the black unit underneath. So 2 layers of rear wing, and then the LiDAR unit at the rear of the car, really cleverly nestled underneath. So again, we want this really seamless aesthetic to the car, have the technology there, but we're not trying to really show that off and push it into people's faces. A Lotus should be something beautiful, and it should be having a certain amount of elegance. And you want to feel good about this car in years to come. They're relatively expensive products, and I think as a proper luxury brand, we have a duty to make sure that our customers, they feel good about what they've invested in for many years after they've made that investment. There are actually more active devices on this car. I don't know if it was explained to you, but there are flaps down here in the diffuser, so there's a split line in there. It doesn't actually operate on this one, but they fold flat and they actually extend the flat floor effect of the car. So again, at high speed, when the car really drops down right onto the lowest on the active air suspension, then these flaps will deploy in the diffuser. Front, there's a number of active devices actually, the sort of intelligent systems on the car.
I really like how this is closest.
Yeah.
Goes away.
And soft close. So there's a number of things. So we don't like to show as an electrified brand, like all of our future products are going to be electric vehicles. We don't really want to show the conventional DNA of an ICE car. So we've taken away the grille mesh that's normally at the front of the car, and we've taken the active grille shutter system and promoted that to the A surface. So it's a visible piece of engineering. When the car needs cooling, and EVs do need cooling, these little triangular elements will open up. That allows air to pass into the radiator pack, cool the battery in the drivetrain, then off out underneath the car. Now, in some drive modes, you might be idling along at a relatively stable speed on a highway. The battery pack and the drivetrain may not need cooling, in which case this closes off and the air is then pushed out to the sides, and we have these ducts that take all the air underneath the bodywork off out into the wheel arch. So this has a dual benefit. It actually generates increased range on the vehicle because you're not taking the air through the radiator pack, which actually increases drag, and it can help balance downforce at the front of the car. So we have a combination of that active system and then the passive aero of these holes through the car, this element of porosity that really push the product forward. There's another device as well.
This is not fake at all?
No, it's not fake. So this is taking air through the front end. What it does is reduce what we call the frontal area. So if you imagine the shape of the front of the car driving down the road into the wind, that has a kind of resistance. These holes that we put everywhere through the bodywork, they actually reduce the kind of mass of the front of the car as it runs into the airflow. So this allows the air to pass through the body, whereas conventionally with aerodynamics, you just want a slippery shape to kind of let it flow over the top. But this is physically reducing the size of the car. So it's quite a smart device, but it's passive. It's just divined into the form, whereas these active elements do an extra job of kind of amplifying the performance capabilities of the car. One more thing on the front of the car, again at a very high speed mode, with everything right down on the suspension, which is multi-stage adjustable, the air suspension on the car. We actually have an active air dam under here. So way at the back of the splitter, there's a little blade that will drop down, and what this effectively does is close off the gap between the car and the road, so it makes it, again, even more slippery to the airflow. So the reference point, I guess people understand for that, is in the 70s in F1. Lotus pioneered the ground effect car, where they had these kind of side skirts that almost sealed off the gap between the car and the road. And this is a little bit of that kind of thinking applied now to a lifestyle product. So super smart technology, and the combination of those active and passive systems really help us to generate a high downforce and super efficient product. So it's the best of both worlds. You get good range, and you get something that feels really planted to the road and super engaging.
There's one last question. It's like, when I saw this on pictures, it's a four-seater, so you realize that it's a big car.
Yeah.
But when I see it in life, it was much bigger, and that's common this day. Like the Ioniq 5, it's the same reality when you saw it on picture and
it's
saw it live.
To be honest, in my opinion, again, everyone will have a different view on it. It's driven by the state of the technology. So to have a car with serious performance and a usable range, you are required to have a certain massive battery pack, and that drives the size of a car. So the technology advances super quickly between the two cars here. This already has a next generation of battery pack, and we're talking about it 1.5 years after that one. So you will see in the future the ability to reduce that,
But is it easier for you as a designer to make something that optical is smaller now with electric cars and the wheels are in the front and the back?
I wouldn't say anything's easy for designers, but what we're trying to do with Lotus is to make the car look as small and as tight and as dynamically capable as possible. I think if you saw similar products from other people, they would probably have a bit more volume and mass to them. So we're about trying to make it what we'll call shrink wrapped around the mechanicals. If you imagine the concept, I think it's quite clear. So whatever there is underneath the skin, we get as close to it as we possibly can, and that's the ethos of Lotus, to minimize everything as best we can.
You did a very good job.
Okay.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you.